Hey guys, my name is Jeff Hay. I'm a peer recovery specialist and I work with Healing Allegany Consortium, and I'm part of the Reentry Initiative, or the Reentry Center. I wanted to share a pretty neat update real quick if you don't mind. I walked out of the Allegany County Detention Center almost 18 or 19 years ago, and I never thought in a million years that I would voluntarily, without handcuffs or without shackles, walk back through the doors of the Allegany County Detention Center willingly. And so when I did, and I had that opportunity to do that, it was kind of surreal. In fact, if I'm honest, I was pretty nervous. I texted my wife right before I got out of my truck. I said, if you don't hear from me within 2 hours, that means they've kept me. And on one hand, I was joking, but then on the other hand, my imagination was running wild. But I had the opportunity to go back to jail for the first time, and it was an interesting experience, to say the least. I've noticed that people can get a little more from one another when we share our weaknesses and when we lead from a place of vulnerability, as opposed to leading from a place of I'm perfect and look how strong I am. And even though I try to practice these principles in my life, there are times where I feel like weakness or being vulnerable isn't the greatest. But I wanted to share this with you because I do believe that maybe you'll get something out of it. Hopefully it'll be beneficial to you. But I was really nervous when I was walking into the detention center. I had a lump in my throat, and for every step I took, it felt like my heart skipped a beat, and my palms were kind of sweaty, and I was walking towards the door, and all these thoughts started going through my mind, like, okay, I'm patting myself down, I'm checking to make sure I don't have anything in my pockets or around my neck, or whether I have earbuds in or anything like that, because I didn't want the little beep, 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 beep thing to go off. I didn't want to get in trouble. And so it's interesting how these old ways of thinking kind of reared up, even though I've been in active recovery for over 20 years. So once I get in there, I begin practicing some mind-body skills. Shout out to Flora and Stephanie for that training, because without that training, I think I would have been a little more nervous than what I was. I'm sitting around a table with some pretty important people. On my right, I have the team from Healing Allegany. And then directly across from me, I have Captain Lasher and his team of people, and also to the left. And, it's my time to share why I'm there. And so Melissa from Healing Allegany, AHEC West, who's kind of heading this whole thing up, she says, well, let's do some introductions. And so it's my turn. I take a deep breath and I say, okay, here we go, Jeff. You can do this. And so I do my best to sum up the fact that I was a resident there, and I was there for 16 months. They may or may not remember me. I did come to find out that most of the individuals were new. I knew everybody in the room previously, but we kind of started at the same time at the new jail. So that was an interesting perspective that I didn't have before. And so I said, at the end of it all, thanks for letting me share. And thank you for the opportunity to be sitting around this table. I was really grateful. And I'm not sure what they were thinking or what was going on in their heads. I know I wanted to make a good impression. I wanted to let them know that they could trust me, that peer recovery support is a viable option to help people overcome addictions. And I just was really hoping that I didn't do a bad job. And unfortunately, we were there to not talk about happy things. And the news kind of segued into the 5 opioid-related overdose deaths that had just happened within the last couple of days. There were 5 of them within over 2 days. And one of the guards mentioned that they were, kind of sad to hear about people that they knew when they read their names or when they hear about them, that they have died or overdosed, because in a way it almost feels like they had been growing up with these individuals and with these people. And at one moment I heard a name, and I thought that I might have heard it wrong, so I raised my hand, kind of timidly, and I said, did you say, and I confirmed the name that I thought I heard, and it was the name that I thought I heard. My mind began to process that a little bit, and I had to say my heart got super heavy. I got really sad. It didn't happen all at once, but I could begin to feel my eyes well up with tears, and I was hoping that a couple of deep breaths would make it go away and that I could just kind of subtly wipe the tears from my cheeks and nobody would really notice. But one thing led to another, and before I knew it, my tears were building, and the dam of my eyelids could no longer contain it, and they began kind of spilling over. I wasn't at the point of shooting them out yet. I've seen that with my kids. Sometimes the tears seem like they're projectiles out of their eyes. And there I was, sad and pretty brokenhearted. The name that I had heard wasn't a buddy. He wasn't even a friend, but we had been in jail together. And one of the last times I saw them was actually the night that we had moved from the old Allegany County Detention Center to the new one. And I had thought he was doing good, but apparently he wasn't. And out of nowhere, I just had this kind of internal emotional reaction, and it was tough. It was challenging. In a way, it almost felt like survivor's guilt. But I did want to share that because, I feel like we are all going on this journey together. Healing Allegany is an amazing group of people, an organization that combines organizations in the community that really want to try to do something about the opioid epidemic. We're tired of seeing family members die. We're tired of hearing horrible numbers. We want to hear some good numbers. And so as a result of that, we're all kind of working towards the same goal. And one last thing I wanted to share was, it wasn't that day, but it was a couple days later when I went back into the detention center. They gave me a name badge, and I've been holding it the whole time. That's to keep you, what's he holding? What's he fiddling with? That's to keep you engaged in what I'm talking about. But this is my new badge. Something really cool they also did was they showed me my old badge, and they gave it to me. And I just want to make a comment there. I know this video is getting long, but if you notice, I'm smiling in this picture. It's a bad picture, but I'm smiling. And that's not because we had Facebook. If you look at Cumberland on Patrol, you'll see a whole bunch of people that are smiling. We didn't have Facebook back then. I made a decision to smile. I made a choice almost 20 years ago, hopefully foreshadowing the life that I'm living right now. I knew that if I could just take one day at a time, I think of Anna. She says in that movie, just do the next right thing. If I can do that, then I can live a life in recovery. I think that's why the whole interaction was just surreal, and it was pretty emotional for me because I am living a life in recovery, and I have a family, and I've restored relationships. That doesn't happen for everyone. We live another day to help people have hope. So thanks for letting me share.